Today, we're going to go through the Tidymodels and how to use the Tidymodels workflow and to investigate the classification problems on the dataset arrays. We're going to use LDA still, so we can compare and what it takes to implement this model. Before I run a model, I pre-installed the Tidymodels in the code lab. It took a while to complete the installation. I can show you here how many external or the dependable packages it installed. It is a massive package. So you can also install the other packages or the libraries. And in this case, we needed this discriminant package. We install this before we can use the LDA. It is kind of like a bridge between the LDA in the mass package and the model, the workflow with the new Tidymodels. So we just completed this. Then we can all load these two libraries as we see here. We can also load the dataset arrays and also check the first few lines here. Well, we can also check these how many rows and then the columns, and 150 rows and 5 columns. As we illustrated before, you have 4 columns for the dimensions, and you have the last column for the species, as we can see. We are going to split the data set, use the initial split, this function, and we're going to go for the 70% to the training and 30% go to the testing roughly. And well, we're going to also transform this into a kind of a format so the workflow can take. Before we do the model feeding in a workflow, you have to create a recipe. It is very similar to the formula, in a linear model. If you had a chance to run it, it is very intuitive. So it's like a linear regression or the logistic regression type of formula. Here we can do some processing. Here we don't scale or we don't do the other transformations like log transformation. So here we just have a kind of a placeholder to run this step here. And we can also bake the data or the formula into the format that the workflow can take as an input. Here, as we say, we installed the discriminant or discrim library. Here we load it, and we're going to use the package mass to load the LDA function. So here is the workflow. It is very similar to the pipeline in scikit-learn. So you may be aware of it if you run the Python machine learning projects. As we can see here, we have the workflow, we added the model, we also added a recipe. Our model would be the LDA model. Our recipe would be a similar, like a linear regression. Our LD model is defined here. As we can see, the engine is set to the LDA within the mass package. Let's run this block. Again, it is fine. Now we're going to fit the data with the workflow we define here with the training data set. You can check the output a little bit. And as we can see, because it's a LDA, it gives the assigned probability to these three categories. Here we're dealing with the three classes or multi-classes case. Well, we can also use the model to predict on the new data. As we can see, we have the new data here. Let's run this line to do the prediction. We can also quickly use the table function within the base R to check how well it does. So as we can see in the diagonal, we see most of the predictions are correct, and only there are two errors. So we can also use the flow or the format in the Tidymodels to run and to check its performances. It is not bad in this situation. All right, just a brief summary, and use the workflow you needed to prepare the steps instead of you grab a model and feed the data. So in this way, you have a formalized workflow, so you can change it later on, like you set the engine to a different package or load the different the model. So in this way, you don't have to change the rest of the model. That's the advantage of this approach. Hopefully, this can give you some hints and useful points so you can start your own modeling. See you next time.